Yeah. Ready to go, please.
We're going.
Great. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to have us all here. I have to mention that we might look a little short up here, but we do have a quorum. Nancy's online with us. And Javi's also joining us, and I'm glad that they're there. We're gonna start with accentuate the positive.
I'll go.
There you
Good
go.
evening, everybody. Oh, do you need a mic? No, no mics. Heather Love here at Talent. Welcome. It's nice to be here. I haven't been here for one of our board meetings here in December in many years. So it's good to be here. I hope you like your presents.
Oh, yeah.
You know me, I love giving presents. It's one of my love languages, so welcome. Just a few updates from Talent. This last week, we kind of really pushed out and Brent and talked about it at the interagency safety meeting the other day, but really starting a community outreach project with Talent and local businesses and agencies. So that's kind of getting off the ground. Casey had been over to Renaissance Flat the other night. Brent joined us, so that's been really cool. I'm just excited to get our kids out in the community, do some service projects, learn some stuff about where we live. And speaking of community, I really want to give a concerted thank you to our community care specialist, Lydia Pineda and Kate McCormick, especially.
Yeah.
The time of the holidays, families are really stressed out about it. And so they work with our office staff to really make sure that our families who need the most support are getting the support. So I want to say thanks to them. Also invite you all to we have our music program coming up next week, our winter concert at Talent is at Talent Middle School again on Tuesday, 6 o'clock. So it'll be great. We saw the kids practicing today and I was like, wow, they're pretty good. They're so good they had to cancel practice tomorrow because they don't need it.
Wow.
Except for the second and third graders. I don't hold myself responsible for one of them. And then also just a quick thank you to Cheryl and Alma and Kim. Cheryl and Alma and Kim, like, make sure the fort stays intact when things are getting crazy, and they've just been running around a lot lately, making sure that everything's running smooth. So I would say thank you to them. That's it.
Good evening, my name is Shauna Schleck, principal here at Phoenix Hill, or over there at Phoenix Hill. I want to echo some of the things that Heather just said. Like, this is the time of year where there's just a lot of energy and a lot going on. So I want to first recognize our SPED department and our behavior team, because we have some activation going on around the school. And it's just people that, like, our whole team is really responsive. So I just want to say thank you to them for just really taking care of kids and taking care of staff and taking care of each other. Want to give a shout out to the fact that we have our Wednesday PD time. And I know that comes at a price in terms of, like, we don't have kids at our campus for that hour, for that purpose of really giving us time to really get prepared, needed professional development. So yesterday we had our 3rd through 5th grade team working on really important smarter balance assessment, and how that interfaces with our curriculum so that we can be really cognizant about those connections. So our 2 implementation coaches, Corinne Calhoun and Jamar Boyd, helped lead that training. At my school, we our behavior specialists, Christian C. Kairos, Richard Malden, and Zach Boyd Helms, led our staff, our K through 2 teachers, in a calibration around our PBIS system. And that's just like putting oil in our machine, right? It's something that we need to do regularly to keep our system going well. And then here, Heather led our classified staff with that same PBIS calibration. And so it's really awesome to have that time. And we just really, we honor that time and wanted to let you know what we're doing with that time. We also have our music program happening at the high school next Thursday. We have the benefit of having 2 music teachers, and so we're excited to, we're thankful for the high school for hosting us and allowing us to have that in the gym next Thursday. So looking forward to that.
What time is
From 6 to 7.
Okay.
From 6 to 7. And finally, next Friday, we do a traditional sing-along at PES. We're actually moving that into the afternoon. We've always done it in the morning, but we've had some requests from teachers saying, hey, we need to keep our literacy blocks. We don't want to give up that day. So can we please move that into the afternoon? And I thought that's a really great request, and we're going to honor that and try our sing-along in the afternoon next Friday at 1 o'clock. So if you're interested in that, feel free to come by PES. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Kent Belair, principal at Orchard Hill.
Just have a few thank yous and public acknowledgements tonight. Anytime there's a kind of a during the school year changeover in key staff, it's always a pretty major event. But I'm really thrilled to report that Richard Malden he's been an aide at Orchard for several years. He's in a program to get his teaching certificate in the spring. And thanks to some work with HR, I think it's called maybe a conditional license. A restricted license. And he is our new social emotional learning specialist and behaviorist. And I'm really proud of Erica Casserati, who is kind of his mentor. It's kind of like one of those examples where we've kind of grown our own talent. He's doing great. And I think he's just finished his second or third week. And there's already a palpable difference in the hallways and the attitudes of our teachers. So I really want to thank Rich and Erica for their hard work. Also, as Shauna said, at the time of year when some of our students with some special needs can get worried and can get anxious. And Erica, Mary Martinen, Carmen Edwards Henry, and Sarah Engstrom, all those folks are really instrumental in helping students from day to day and keeping them healthy and attending to their mental health, and so that they can kind of learn in class and make it through the next couple of weeks. So I wanted to recognize them tonight as well. So thanks, Jessica, in your office, and Tiffany for good special ed folks.
Good evening, board. Aaron Santi, PTRA. Last Friday, we had the bug guy come in. We've had him several times this year. This time it wasn't bugs though. He was doing a dinosaur workshop. It was very cool. We had every seat in our classroom filled with students, with siblings, with parents and grandparents, and everybody got a chance to touch some real dinosaur fossils and dig around in the dirt. And it was a great experience and a really engaging experience for our families. Also want to thank Joe for being able to come over and document it and get it up on all the different places that I don't visit. But I hear that it's awesome. Also a busy week for PTRA in terms of getting 6 new students just this week. And we have had 6 others who started since the quarter, so we've had 12 new students just in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've increased our enrollment from 21, now we're at 34. And that's typical. That'll continue. We expect to continue. We've got 2 more scheduled for this next week. So we expect to see more coming in this week.
Can someone touch that?
What's that? Oh.
We're going to sleep, sorry.
Yeah, you gotta hit the other side. To the right.
Keep it on.
All right.
Sorry.
No worries. So enrollment is up, continuing to improve, and we expect that to continue. So that's it for me.
Casey Olmstead, principal at Talent Middle School. I think I wanted to share, and I know Heather already brought it up, but just the other night going over and visiting and spending time with the families at Renaissance Flats was powerful, impactful, and all the things, and so excited to build community there. I also want to echo just this time of year to me is always, I would say after Thanksgiving to the next break is one of the more, I call it adventurous times for kids and things that they like to get into or not. And I think part of it is like the excitement for the break, but I think for a lot of our kids too, there is the fear of not being in school and the safety net that school is. And so just a shout out to really all of PHS, the middle school, the elementary school, is all of the staff that show up for kids during this time because it can be heavy. And a special shout out to Misty and Curran because of the behavior adventures that we see during this time and how they show up. And so want to shout them out. It's Allison too. And then finally, this week we did some classroom observations. We went to Phoenix Elementary and Phoenix High School, and I think just the opportunity to see just really good teaching taking place in the different buildings and the reality that we're in this together. What happens at the elementary school directly impacts all the way up, and so being able to experience that in the other buildings and how welcoming the other buildings are and being a part of that. So I enjoyed that opportunity. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. James Joy, assistant principal at Phoenix High School. So first of all, I a shout out to all of our students and staff. We got our first quarter honor roll numbers back, and they're pretty impressive. 258 students at Phoenix High School earned a GPA of at least 3.5,
Nice.
with 110 students earning a 4.0 for first quarter.
Nice.
Yeah, so that is to our students for working hard in class and our teachers for putting forth the materials, working hard in class also. In the board notes, you'll see a presentation that's in coordination with the Oregon Association of Student Councils. And that is on a presentation on the importance of community service and what that looks like at Phoenix High School. It takes a number of different venues. It could be for Sparrow or for just general community service. Sometimes it takes form of higher points and so on. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. Some other staff shout outs. Maggie Taylor, who's our concessions coordinator, and also our color guard coach, also hosted a holiday fair this last weekend in the small gym with all sorts of holiday vendors and selling things. And she said that it went very well and is already planning on how to make everything more bigger and better for next year. So we're looking forward to that. Another shout out to Skylar Glines, who's supporting our leadership class during Lisa Robbins' absence from surgery. So thank you to Skylar for doubling on that. And she's also coaching JV girls basketball. Another one is just a recognition for Sabina Diaz, who's our long-term substitute for Spanish while Vanessa Vega is out on maternity leave. She's been doing an excellent job connecting with kids and making that class a good thing for kids with the language and making it viable for them. And then a shout out on just an update on some of our winter sports. I understand Javier's going to give an update on basketball. So I'll tell you about wrestling. They went to Glide tournament on Saturday, and they had 4 students place, which means top 5 at that tournament. So that was a good showing for them. And then swim update. They were at a tournament on Saturday at Rogex. They're really enjoying the opportunity to participate, practice there. The tournament on Saturday was hosted by St. Mary's and included some Cascade Christian kids and Henley. And they did a number of not traditional swimming events. So I don't really have anything to report to you on that. Like one was called the torpedo swim, I think, where you swim forward with your right and then you flip over and then you do backstroke with your left and then you flip back over. And so you're just spinning all the way down the lane. I don't know how they didn't get dizzy, but and then one was with a kickboard. So those are not common, but they're fun and the kids in the pool. Okay, so that's it for me. Thank you.
Hi, Amy Hans here with food service, and I don't normally do this, but tonight I really have to thank my high school team. As you can see, I'm in full work get up here. Been running the high school this week, and my crew has really stepped up and helped, and everyone's pitched in and done a little bit more while Susie's out sick. We all know she doesn't call out sick easily, so it's definitely a one and well, this is my 5th year time. But a huge shout out to Lenny Pierce, Steve Bovieri, and Cliff Brown for really helping me run the school. And then I know Susie's Pizzoli is like a district favorite, which of course would fall on the week that she's gone. So I'm excited to hear what everyone thought of Pizzoli because it was Amy's Pizzoli this time. We're looking forward to collecting menu feedback from all of the kids. We're moving forward on those plans. I was hoping to start it here this week, but due to shifting to the high school, we'll probably be looking at that after winter break. But please encourage your kids to come see my booth. I'm gonna have fun balloons, stickers in the elementaries, probably cookies in the middle school, and still more to come with what all we can do in the high school, but lots of fun plans there. I'm also happy to share that we have been working on identifying some new ways to present some of our favorite to-go boxes. I know there's been some talk of, a little bit of extra plastic or waste in them. And so we're looking at different ways that we can still keep some of those favorites, but maybe reduce some of that extra packaging in them. It'll be trial and error, so everyone please forgive us. I know today we had a little bit of pizza sauce spill in the easy pizza boxes, so trying to figure out how we can keep everybody happy and reduce some of that. And then finally, I'm excited to share that while we're continuing to work to find a lot of new local products and do some of our switches, we've learned that not everything can be claimed on that farm to school grant, even though it's still in the local purchasing, but many things can, and we are at a point where we are going to be requesting more money to that grant for additional funds for the district because we are utilizing that grant fully.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any accentuate the positive? Nancy, do you have anything online? I don't hear Nancy.
No questions at this time, but great updates and amazing accentuate the positive.
Thanks, Nancy. We'll move on to our student representatives. We're gonna do something special tonight, even for Hobby, who will have to come on the camera because we're gonna do this for him as well. So I know we already, who was it? You have to help me.
It was Eden.
Yeah, was already, took the oath, and so we have 3 of you to do that with this evening, so I'm excited about that. I remember when I did mine almost 4 years ago, and it was very special to me, so I'm glad that you're here. Let's start with Rachel, if you want to stand, and then I'm gonna read, and you're gonna repeat after me. And this is in accordance with policy that we have, that we do this to help support you and you understand what your commitment is here. I, and then state your name,
I, Rachel Pepe,
will support the Constitution and laws
will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Oregon
and the state of Oregon
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Phoenix Talent School District,
and the policies of the Phoenix Talent School District,
and will discharge the duties of student representative
and will discharge the duties of student representative
on the Phoenix Talent School Board to the best of my ability.
on the Phoenix Talent School Board to the best of my ability.
Thank you. You're like really official now. All right, Javier.
Yep.
Okay, I think you know this drill.
I'm not sure if we did last year, but maybe
So
I just missed.
Go ahead.
All right.
What did you say?
Oh, I said I'm not sure. I said maybe I just didn't remember, but
Okay. That's what happens when you get old, Javier. Okay. I state your name.
I, Javier Quintana,
Will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
will support the constitutions and the law of the United States,
the state of Oregon and the laws thereof,
the state of Oregon and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Phoenix Talent School District,
and the policies of the Phoenix Talent School District,
and will discharge the duties
and will discharge the duties
of the student representative
of the student representative
on the Phoenix Talent School Board to the best of my ability.
on the Phoenix Talent School Board to the best of my ability.
Great. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, Aubrey, it's your turn.
I always go last.
What did you say?
I said I always go last. I feel like everything.
Aubrey.
Yeah, I don't know. I state your name.
I, Aubrey Emery,
Will support the Constitution
will support the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
the state of Oregon
the state of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Phoenix Talent School District,
and the policies of the Phoenix Town School District,
and will discharge the duties of student representative
and will discharge the duties of the student representative
on the Phoenix Town School Board to the best of my ability.
on the Phoenix Town School Board to the best of my ability.
Great, thank you. I'm happy to have you all here. So happy about that. I think we're gonna move on to the classified and certified.
It's actually, I think they have to give a report now, the student representative.
Oh, yeah, sorry for pointing that out.
Sorry.
I always think it's later, I don't know why. Yeah, so Javi, you wanna go first, since you're online? With your report? Sorry about that.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just get some notes out. So, sorry I can't make it today. I wasn't feeling too good after school today, so I just decided to stay home and join on Zoom. But it's great to be back in a Zoom meeting, even if it's by Zoom meeting to a board meeting. And what I'm here to talk about today is I want to start off by highlighting cross country team this year, as the boys team did make it to the 4A state championship in Lane Community College, and we did place seventh overall as a state, which was a very big accomplishment for us this year, and just a very big testament to Mr. John Cornett and his amazing coaching staff and how well he like takes care of like all of the students and athletes there and actually cares about them, and he's just a great coach, great person, and I wanted to give him some kudos. Also, Aaliyah on the girls team, I forgot to write down her last name, but she also made it individually to the state championships by herself. If anyone there, any student there knows her last name, you guys can more than welcome say it.
Her name's Aaliyah Polanski.
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 And my next highlight is going to be to the future, actually to the basketball team that's starting off, and how and they're 3-0 right now and they're doing really good. They have a very strong team, some new transfers, and Troy McNichols is leading that team, and it's going to be an exciting year for sure. And the last thing I was going to point out is the DECA chapter. We've had one competition this year, and our chapter is full with new freshmen that are so eager to learn about DECA and everything it has. And we have 3 written projects, which means that they're working with local businesses or they're taking on a project of their own. And those written events are they just show how much we've grown from a DECA chapter, from only competing and having fewer members to growing and being able to take on big challenges like these written events, because they are a big project to complete and fully go through the whole process with. And just the growth in that DECA chapter is really been a community effort, and I wanted to highlight that. So if you guys have any questions, that's what I have for you guys today.
I don't think any questions. You wanna go ahead?
So I want to talk about FAFSA because that opened up and that's always a task. But especially because of how it went last year. But the FPC hosted a bunch of FAFSA support nights for families to come to, and they served food, and I wasn't there, but I know it was really like a good support for the people who needed it. And then the other thing that I think is really cool that we did, but that we have at the school, is we have the giving tree program. I think that's what it's called. We have like the Christmas tree in the office, and you can take an ornament and shop for a kid, which is I think a really special program we have. I'll leave the rest of you guys.
So my name is Rachel, and what I wanted to talk about today was our Sparrow Assembly that we had a few weeks ago. I am a co-chair of the Sparrow Committee with Abby Corona. We're both in leadership, and it was really like special to me to get to meet our Sparrow, because I hadn't met him. I like knew his name, I knew a little bit about him, but getting to meet him was really special. And like at one point, Kina, who is one of the coordinators of Sparrow, just asked the school to just throw your hands together and just give some spirit for him. And it was just like really incredible to see how many people like cheered him on, even though he's only like 2 years old. Just to see that support was like really special. And I'm really excited to be part of the fundraising program for that this year. And we have a Lake Crew holiday movie night for our freshmen. I'm also in Lake Crew, me and Aubrey are. And that's the program of and hobby of upperclassmen helping introduce the freshmen into high school and get them situated. And so we have a big event for them this next Thursday. It's going to be a holiday movie party. And yeah, we're really excited for that.
Am I good to go? Okay, for starters, the cheer team, we have a competition team this year, which is very new. Have we ever competed? I don't think we have. Yeah, so the Phoenix High School cheer team has never competed. We already have our whole routine learned and ready, we're doing really good with that, which I think is really impressive for only having, I believe, 3 competition practices so far, and we have our whole 3-minute routine down. And our first competition is on January 12th. And that's going really good. And also we have a lot of spirit going on. So we have our hallway decorating right now, which is up and running, and that's super fun. It's always a great time of year because it's all pretty, and it just gets people really in the spirit and happy, so everyone's making good progress on that. And then also we did so much spirit preparation for the assembly that we have tomorrow in leadership, and just Miss Glines, as Miss Joy already gave a shout out to, and Miss Green and Miss Robin, who has been working from home. It's just really impressive because we've had everything prepped and ready for a few weeks, and the spirit tomorrow at the assembly is going to be super high and great. And I think it's just really good and impressive for having so many people in our staff gone right now.
Where is the cheer team competition?
It's the only local competition in the valley in a long time, and it's being held at Rogue X actually.
Yeah.
So if you want to come support.
Is it on the 12th? Is that what you said?
Yeah, January 12th.
January 12th.
I believe, we have to be there at 7 in the morning. I don't know what time.
We'll be competing in the morning.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we have another one in Roseburg, which isn't too far, and that's on February 2nd. Yeah, 2nd.
And we're also competing at state this year, which is going to be actually on Valentine's Day in Portland.
Yeah.
I'm curious if we've ever competed in cheer. I don't know that we, yeah.
I don't
I've
think we
been
have.
from a cheerleader that had a sister on the team that we had, but it was a really long time,
Yeah.
5 to 8 years ago. So it was and it wasn't this type of competitor,
Okay. A hot minute. Thank you for that. So do we have anyone here from the classified or certified group? Okay. Any citizen comments? I don't think we have anybody else online. You know that wants to- You can raise what?
Rosie Ruiz is online.
Yeah, you can raise your hand if you'd like to make a citizen comment. Awkward pause. Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll go to the superintendent report.
Thank you. And I just have a few things. The last month there was an economic forecast that looked favorable in general, with the revenue forecast being up. And then after that, the governor released a budget for the next biennium. And I think overall it's positive, but really cautiously optimistic. I think there's a lot of competing priorities in our state, but really happy to see that state school fund number up over 11.3 billion, which is a good starting point. So we'll continue to look and advocate to see for where it makes sense to advocate for funding for schools. I will tell you, and we mentioned this before, but our PERS rates are going up, and so we really need a plan for that. And Yasmin and I have been working the last few weeks to really see how we manage that. The next biennium and the following biennium after that is really when it's going to sting even more. So planning for that will be important. Little bit about Culver, still working on a sales agreement. As you know, we approved a letter of intent, and our council is putting together a sales agreement that will likely have ready for the board in January. And a contingency of that will be the MOU that we will need to work through to make sure that we're all on the same page. That's in conjunction with our land consultants really positioning that piece of land out on Culver. In your packets, you do have the state report cards that were released last month. And I don't want to get into them too much. We will moving our JAB meeting to January, which actually makes more sense with the report cards coming out in November, and then really kind of having our team share a little bit more about it in January. I will share that ODE did highlight Phoenix Town schools based on the on track to graduate number, and in their media reporting, they shared that progress we were making. And then in a statewide board meeting, I think just last week, Dr. Williams mentioned Phoenix Town schools and that significant jump in on track to graduate. Finally, and I think Heather mentioned a little bit, we had our second safe school interagency team meeting. We have those quarterly, very well attended, probably the best attended in a long time. I really appreciate the staff and all of our partners coming to just collaborate and share information. And Rebecca, I'll just turn it over to you if you want to share any information on that.
So the amount of people that took the time to come to that meeting was probably the best meeting, like the biggest meeting we've ever had in attendance. And it's really inspiring, the amount of people that come for our student safety. And that meeting was held yesterday, Wednesday, the 12th.
Yeah.
It seems like every school's asking for more cameras. That seems to be a running theme there. Trying to get that in the budget for safety would be cool. I'm looking forward to the Ernie Whiteman report, which was discussed a little bit yesterday. The high school has their decals up, which I believe the DECA team made.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. They're still working on getting the outside one finished. The Town Middle School didn't get the grant for the road crossing that they had been hoping for the students, Christian and what other Wagner, yeah. So we're talking about collaborating with the city to make that happen. Yeah, overall, it was a really good meeting.
Yeah, thank you for that. And the Safe Routes to School grant was not successful. And I don't think we want to wait on that. I think we can plan and collaborate with the city of Talent to make sure what we're looking at doing is moving that crosswalk that goes from the elementary to the middle school, just move it on the north side of Christian Avenue, so they don't have to.
They all cross there.
They all cross there. They don't have to cross traffic anymore. So
Always been an issue.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to partner with the city of Talent. They are willing to meet there. I think we're meeting next week, I think, to kind of take a look and see what we can do.
That's good.
How many districts participate in this meeting? Is this just our district with community partners? Okay.
Yeah, so this was, I mean, shoot, back in 2006, maybe, started this Safe School Interagency Team meeting, and it's been going ever since. And you know, Rick was a founding member of that back then, and our police partners, our restorative justice partners, La Clinica's there. So it's a good variety of people that come together to work for kids. Sheriff's office, some former alumni at Phoenix High School, so it's good.
Armadillos.
Yeah.
Members there all the time.
Is this once a year?
No.
Or
4 times a year, once a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a Safe Routes to School coordinator in the district?
Not a coordinator. I mean, John's kind of the
John,
safety
okay.
coordinator, so, but not specifically Safe Routes to School, so.
Look at him, he's got 2 thumbs up.
That's all I had, so thank you.
We we have our consent agenda. Your motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Okay, thank you. We have our personnel for us. Next, we're gonna move on to information and discussion, and that would be a legislative OSBA update, which I'm excited about. This, it was
So
neat.
once Sarah can finally figure out how to send an email correctly with the
Oh,
correct
it's
information
okay.
one time, sorry.
It's all good.
So I wanted to make sure that the student representatives were aware that they were invited and hope that you can attend the legislative reception that we're hosting for OSBA Southern Region. It's Monday, January 6th. You should have gotten an email invite for it. It'll be at 6:30 p.m. at the high school. That's when it'll start. And so we really hope that you'll be able to come. We have heard responses back from Representative Wallen, Representative McIntyre, and Representative Marsh, which are all legislators who support our region school and our district specifically. Representative Marsh is ours specifically, but in our, so we've heard back from those three. We know they'll be there, and it's just going to be a really great opportunity to connect. And they love to hear from students about what's happening. So I really hope that you can all attend and make sure, I wanted to make sure that you knew that that invitation was out there. Because it's the first day back from winter break. Yeah.
And maybe Sarah, if they have questions, maybe they could run
Yes.
them by you, or
Yeah,
maybe
if you
there'd
have
be
any
format.
questions, you have, yes, you have my email. And that was one of the things that I wanted to encourage us as a board. And when we're looking to advocate, I've sat in on a couple of webinars this week. And with looking at the at a glance numbers from on the state report card is really knowing our own data, which is something that Michael, I think, has really encouraged us as board members to do, knowing what our PERS rate will be going up, knowing our number, knowing what our special education number is, knowing and having a story behind what that really means, so that when we're communicating with legislators, what we need. So our story, right, our need, and then our ask, and focusing that effort so that we can really be concise and consistent with what we need. So just really preparing ourselves for those conversations in short, really informed sentences, right? So that we can, I think Dawn, I think, and Brett have talked about potentially having students co-op a couple of times during this next session to really advocate. And it is a great starting number, but really wanting to be making sure that we recognize there's a lot of increases down the road as well. So being able to serve our students well. So that's my update.
I went to that online session that they had. It was good. It was a little bit of a repeat of what we've had before when we went to conference, but.
So it was good.
Were you on that too?
Mhm.
Okay, in the middle of the day, whatever, what, yeah.
Yes, it was, I thought that she did, Adrienne, right, did a really good job outlining that, you know, get your story, get your numbers, know your own district's data and what big dollar amounts and percentages really mean for your district and your story, so that you're not just out there very globally talking. So we'll need help with that.
And you'll
Mr.
get
Barry.
I do want to mention too that Representative Marsh is drafting a bill to extend the ADM security for the districts that are impacted, and just sent information out to our local reps, obviously Representative Marsh, Senator Golden, to and the other districts getting their legislative reps to be chief sponsors on that. Because we know and we realize 4 years of recovery for it just takes longer than that. And you see the state suing the housing manufacturer that weren't able to go in at the park in Phoenix. So it's just gonna take a while. So I just want to put that on your radar as well, that we'll be asking for some more support in that regard. And really appreciate Representative Marsh for just being a champion always for our community.
It's hard to think how long ago that was that we had the fires and how far we still have to go. So I'm glad that she's, keep charging on with that fight for sure. Anything else for OSBA or legislative? Okay, the committee updates. Did you have something?
I was gonna say, I think we, like, at the high school, circling back to the school safety thing, I feel like as a student, I feel a lot more informed. No one likes to talk about it, but school shootings are real things and it
Yeah.
can happen. And we didn't really get like information about it until we did like a drill once a year before. And I think having like a video everyone watched at the beginning and having like signage in the classrooms and new signage in Spanish and English was like a really big deal. And even though it's a little bit different and confusing right now, we changed up the fire drill system, which I think was pretty huge because once we get used to it, it'll be a lot faster. So I don't know, I think that's like a big improvement we've made, at least at the high school. And that's pretty cool.
So the changes have made you feel better
I
about
mean,
the situation?
Cause like, it's not something we really talk about, like
Yeah, I
students talk
know.
about it to each other. But it's kind of a taboo subject between like students and educators or stuff like that, like there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of like, just, sometimes you do feel unsafe, especially when something happens and you hear about it, which is.
And like
far
the
too
other day
common.
with the earthquake going off and everybody's like,
And
what's happening?
I was sitting in my car and I got out and I was like, that's not real.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it is important for you to be able to speak up as a student, even though it feels awkward or maybe not, it feels like it's hard to talk about, like it's a charged subject, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're speaking up about it. It's important that you do. Okay, thank you. So committee updates, I don't know if we have any reports on any of those listed. We have the Culver Road project. Do you know when the next meeting is for that group? Cause I'm on that, so that's why I'm asking.
Sarah's asking at the other, so
Okay.
it's soon. We're still trying to get our, kind of team together. The DEQ is a little bit of a hiccup as we, John mentioned that we did submit the hard copy version, and in the meantime, they were going just all electronic submissions.
Oh, no.
And so it got,
Oh, no.
it was a timing issue, but we got word that we needed to resubmit it in the electronic format, but they'll backdate it to when we put it in. So,
Good deal.
so that's gonna be happening here fairly soon. And then once we get ZCS and CSA ready to meet, we'll invite you to those meetings.
Okay. And then EDI, Nancy, do you have a report?
I have something that Kelly gave me
Okay.
from the meeting. She's not here. She's under the weather, yeah. But it last Monday, I think, was their meeting. They do have two co-chairs, Peter Edwards and Jen Brinson. Armadillo are co-chairing that. There's 4 student reps. And it's a great group. I was able to go there at the beginning of the meeting and just share the importance of the work they're doing. They are doing a book study, Unconscious Bias in Schools, that they'll be doing this year, and then they decided to focus on number 7 of that AR, which is about really curriculum and how kind of understanding. And I think we have a great adoption process for curriculum, and so it'll be good for our EDI committee to really understand that.
Nice.
And that's what they want to focus on this year. So that was the update. I don't know if there's any other updates or not.
Gotta wait for Nan. There she is. Hi.
Hi, how are you? There is no other updates, and thank you for sharing this, Brent.
Okay, then we talked about the safe schools, interagency. You already did your pitch, and then negotiations. I know that Dawn is going to be attending that coming up, and Michael. Any other committees that we missed? Okay. Well, move on to RFP for food service. Brent?
Yeah, we talked about that in our work session, and I think it was really good discussion and great questions, and we are deciding to go out for RFP. It's just an information and discussion item. We will have an RFP ready in January. You have a timeline, I think, in your board book. I do want to know if anybody wants to be on the RFP scoring committee.
I would like to be on that.
Okay, it's March 10th, as you know, and I think we have it tentatively scheduled for the morning, but we would, once we get our team together, we'll see what best time, but it'll be that day for sure. Depending on how many, proposals that we get, we'll know that a week before, because I think they're due on the 3rd. We'll allow, ample time to be able to score those, so. Really appreciate Yasmin getting that together.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Pretty scripted through ODE, but there are some things that we're working with some of our local partners to see what we want to put in the RFP to add some things about locally sourced food and some other things that are important to us. So we will have that RFP out at the end of January. So I just wanted to mention that. And thank you. If there's anybody else that would like to score, just let me know. But we typically have a board member or two.
Okay. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
Board policy, BHB, board member development. So we're gonna look at these different ones tonight. There's a few of them, and some are ARs and some are not. So I don't know the best way to go through these. I guess we could just talk about each one. I'll just speak up on this one. This one is discussing the policy. We discussed this at our work session, and we talked about having something specific about giving fair opportunity for all of us to go to different ones and what that looked like. And I did notice that, talked about with Denise about this earlier today. My connection is not so hot, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to bring it up or not, but hold on.
Yeah, I was struggling with the PDFs a little bit too.
Yeah, something's going on with the building right now. So in here on number 2, it talks about funds for participation at such professional development will be included in the district budget. All requests for attendances and conferences, conventions, and then it says except OSBA Fall Annual Convention. And I know Denise mentioned that this is because Dawn was saying that there's maybe moving to one, but maybe I just suggested that maybe we just put OSB convention. Like those are ones where, you know what I mean, and not be specific about whatever it is. So we don't know how, I'm just thinking about we would have to change it again.
I agree with that too, just in case they decide, because they are doing December 1 again this next year. It's already set in place, but
Yeah,
if they do continue to do them, yeah. Fill out the summer one.
the rest of this, I don't know if you had, you got yours up.
Couldn't get mine up.
You didn't get yours either? Yeah, did you have any other comments about this?
No, I think that, part of the thought process right behind keeping the fall convention on there was because one OSBA convention is kind of the standard for this board to attend. So would we need to bring that to the entire board to attend that convention? So I think
Right.
that's why, but if there were multiple OSBA conventions, would that still be something that we would want fellow board members to come and bring for approval?
Like what?
Well,
Legislative?
so if they did, we know, but maybe they'll host regional meetings and that's something that someone may want to attend
yes.
outside of a region. The not COSA, I apologize, the other one, PACE, although PACE is under OSBA, is that considered an OSBA conference or is that, I'm not trying to split hairs. And I understand what we're doing here, although I am splitting hairs, so I just wanna I
I feel like I would consider the PACE conference, the PACE
Conference,
conference, not
not-
like an
okay.
OSBA.
Yeah.
Like it is
The
a part
brand.
of it, but I think the wording is a little different on that.
Okay,
That's how I.
so,
take it.
and, the law conference is ACE, right?
Pace, yeah.
Yeah, so then, yeah, so I'm fine with it. Thanks for talking that out.
And I love this fund request that, we had, to fill out and had information on that, so it's really transparent about what
What the
what was,
expectation.
I just, every time I go to these, I was mindful about what we're spending, what we're doing, like how much it costs. Am I getting something out of it? Am I using that knowledge? I don't know, I just really picked up on that.
Mhm.
And I love that we're doing this, to make sure that we're spending this money wisely and we have some, policy
Some
around it.
guidelines in
Yeah,
place for
it's so good.
future.
Yeah,
The one thing you'll need to decide as a board is if you want this reimbursement request as part of the policy or just a separate form.
good question.
I would say separate form, but.
I would say that, because then it can change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it something that would be the AR? And would it be, no, just a separate form,
Just
just,
form,
but
yeah.
just the form? Okay.
Okay, so any more on that? Okay, thank you, Brent, for coming in. Okay. With the paper copy. Instructional materials.
No, I can't, no, I can't.
It is, I know, we were just talking about how he doesn't know what's on here, but now I need this copy. This is the OSBA came up with this, and also, I thought this was kind of an interesting group of people, the ESD, staff, school districts, professionals, and State of Library of Oregon Intellectual Freedom Committee, talking about, this new AR about instructional materials. I don't know if anybody had any comments about this one.
I'll just mention to you, we have a lot of policies on here and the, how we kind of decided on that is because we actually do kind of have a month in between our meetings. And then if you notice the consent agenda for next, or the agenda for next time, we also have quite a few policies, but we
Yes.
don't we have a month in between there too, because the job meetings in between there. So typically, we just don't load you up on this, but
It's okay.
It's just kind of the way it fell, right? With
Yeah.
work session
Yeah.
or, yeah, that's right, work session,
Yeah.
meeting,
Yeah.
holiday. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So any questions or comments about this one about instructional materials?
So what blue language is staff recommending on there?
yeah.
All of it?
So the blue language is what staff recommends. If
Okay,
it's green and
okay.
crossed out, that was optional,
Okay,
that we do not recommend.
okay.
This is where we all need a cheat sheet on that.
And I have to, I mean, a lot of these, yeah, are Tiffany and Jessica went through all these too, so
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Anything else? Nancy, I'm not asking you for your 2 cents. Do you have anything?
I do not at this moment. Thank you.
Possibly, since Eden and Rachel weren't here last year, I think an explanation of blue.
You got one. You did? Good. So when we met last Thursday, that was one of the things that we
Cool.
talked about. That was kind of the
Mhm.
part of that conversation.
Thank you.
That's always the first entry into the door, and it takes you like 4 years even to understand that, so I'm just saying. So don't feel bad if you don't remember, we all need the cheat sheet. And thank you, Sarah, for taking time to do that. That's
Oh, yeah, that was
wonderful.
fun.
It was very helpful.
Yeah, at any time, stop us, like you said, and say, I don't get this. What are you doing? It's what we're here for.
And as you're reading through too, right, reach out to any of us.
Okay.
About questions or clarification, or Denise is a wealth of information.
Yeah. She's the person. Board policy IIAAR1, instructional materials, second part. This is the AR that we're replace the current one that we have. Any comments on that one? Yeah. 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 Okay. And then H7, board policy IIAAR2, reconsideration of core instructional materials. This is, just for our review only. There's no action at the next meeting.
So this is just requesting.
Mhm. Any comments about that one? Okay. H8, Board Policy IIAAR3, reconsideration of school or classroom materials. This again is for review only. And I love that we have this in place, so if anybody has questions about it, they have an avenue to discover that. Okay. H9, Board Policy IIAAR4, request for reconsideration of instructional or library materials form. Again, this is for our review. Someone wants to look at that. Any comments about that one? Okay, H10, Board Policy IIAAR5, independent adoption of core instructional materials, again for review. I love that we're doing this, just saying.
So is this something that the EDI committee is looking at? Is this policy, since they'll be looking at?
Some curriculum,
Mhm.
yeah. I think it has to
So,
do with policy,
kind of all of
process,
this.
procedure.
Any comments about that one? Okay, let's go to H11, Board Policy IKF, graduation requirements. I know that we had that Senate bill that put a monkey wrench in a lot of things, and that's why we're doing this. That was Senate Bill 992 and additionally Senate Bill 3. Talking about alternative certificates and the certificate of attendance. So we have to change these to reflect those changes and that were put in place by the Senate bill. I don't know. Does anybody have any comments about this one? I know we've kind of talked about this before as well.
Tiffany shared some different things. It might have been post-board meeting, or it might have been during a board meeting about this conversation around the difference between what a alternative certificate versus a certificate of insurance really looks like for students in our district.
I think our biggest change with this policy change is for students on IEPs. In the past, had an option of regular diploma, modified, extended diploma, or on their IEP, they could be working toward a certificate of attendance. And now that stops that, which we haven't given a certificate of attendance for many years, I'll just say. So I don't think we're gonna have the impact, but now all students need to be working for at least an extended diploma. Which I think is good.
I think so as well.
So it just fits in the board policy.
Any questions about that or comments? Okay. H12, Board Policy IKFB, graduation exercises. Again, it's talking about that alternative certificate and the certificate of attendance.
Changing the verbiage in there.
Yes. Okay, H14, Board Policy JECA, admission of resident students. I think that's not,
IKJ.
I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. IKJ, I heard you correcting me over there. I felt you already. Board Policy IKJ, artificial intelligence. I love that I saw this. I had something at my work today where our boss was encouraging us to use AI in creating our personal evaluations, which everybody was mostly turned theirs in and they were like, why didn't you tell us this earlier? I love that we're addressing this wonderful thing that we have access to in life. I love it myself, but I'm glad that we have parameters around it. And I know we've gone to several different sessions at conference talking about this and how it's being used and how it can be a great tool for us. And I love Tiffany's comment on here about, I'm just gonna read it out loud. The Office of the Civil Rights just released a memo about avoiding discrimination against students with disabilities and AI use. Requiring parent notice would hinder our students' use of technology to support their school access. We use predictive text and other AI for our students with augmentative communication devices and assistive technology. Any comments about this? Yeah.
I just wanted to say this is something that me and Sarah talked about, was about I've witnessed that myself of some of our special needs programs. I know a lot of them and I hang out with them a lot. I'll say hi to them in the halls. And I had a class with one of them once in yearbook, and she had to use her iPad to say like, I need to go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
And to just say that like they would need parent approval to ask to go to the bathroom is like kind of difficult. And so I think it's a really good topic to look into.
Thank you for that. Nancy, did you have something? No, you're just cute over there, I'm just saying.
Just over here listening. And I actually, I do appreciate that student input, and you're absolutely right, Polly. It's been really nice to get some, to really rely on some of those breakout sessions and various conferences that we attend. And the continuous message is, let's not villainize it. How do we actually use AI to really be a additional tool for all of us? And how do we learn? How do we utilize this in a way that it's going to be responsible, but also very responsive to our student needs, right? So it's along the lines of what you both have shared. So I'm excited about this, and for us again to continue to learn more, to ensure that we're within the parameters to utilize this tool to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. I remember when we went to this last session, and that keynote speaker was talking about was really effective, what he was using that for.
I'd like to add on to that. I think beyond students with special needs, that we've also just been getting a little more education on AI, because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And how to use it as a tool in the classroom as well, and like with your writing, and not to use it to write for you, but to give you ideas or help you improve your writing, and where to improve your writing, or to spot like Grammarly is a form of AI, and a lot of people use it. So I think that's just and it's encouraged to be used in the classroom. So I think it's a tool, like Nancy said, and it's not to be villainized, just to be used appropriately.
Or apply for jobs or whatever it is. It's awesome. Yeah. Sometimes we need that little prompt to help us figure out, oh, yeah, that made sense. Right. That's great. Any other comments about that?
Just, this is probably a start, and you'll probably be seeing a revision.
Of course.
Multiple revisions.
That's job security for us. Let's just say.
As things continue to move forward in this realm.
That's right. All right, moving on to H14, board policy JECA, admission of resident students. I'll try to make it the right way next time. This is has to do with that alternative certificate and certificate of attendance again. And this one we will be voting on, I believe, on the next one. Yeah. Any questions about that? Okay, H15, board policy JHCD, medications, replaces policy JHCD/JHCDA. So this is a new policy, and I think some of the updates had to do with I still can't load anything, so Brent's gonna love me for that. Yeah, just a required, but they'd also add the opioid different information. Yeah. Which I'm sad that we have to have this, but it's so important that we have it available in our schools for sure. So that one will be coming up for voting. Does anyone have any additions about this?
I think having things like, whether we like it or not, people use drugs.
Yeah.
And I think having things like Narcan available to students, even if there's just drug issues at home that don't involve them, is something we could look into, or even look into La Clinica, if they have it, like being open about like, hey, we have these things, we have contraception, we have
Narcan, because those are like things people need sometimes, and I think that, it's sad, but if we're gonna put it in a policy, maybe that's something we need to talk about having in schools.
Yeah, it's something that happens every day, and we can't deny that.
Is it available at the high school?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
At
what
the
I
middle
mean, like, I
school?
didn't even know it was available. So like, maybe that could be a little bit more expressed to students, or a place where someone can easily get it without,
Yeah,
because there's some shame in that sometimes, I think.
that's
So
acceptable.
maybe sharing that with admin is important.
Is there gonna be, who, are there partners that we're hoping to connect with and work with? Like there's Max's Mission, I love that Aubrey mentioned, La Clinica. But Max's Mission does a lot of training and they provide, for example, Narcan. But I think it's gonna be a really good thing for us to think about and have additional training and support with folks who are more subject matter experts, but not just within the schools, but I mean, our kids are part of this incredible community, and it's the more people can learn and be informed and armed with information, the better we will be as citizens to, again, to the rest of our community outside of school as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, the state actually passed a law that students are to receive lessons in opioid prevention, which at the high school level also does include like using Narcan and things like that. So the state provided the lessons that we could choose. Our nurse Carrie, our district nurse, has already gone through them and sent them to all the health teachers at the middle school and the high school. She's doing the lessons at the middle school, I believe. And then we have just in our health curriculum before. So you'll all, or everybody in health class in high school now, every year will get lessons in opioid prevention and then spotting signs of overdose and other preventative measures. So that's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. I was just gonna ask about Nurse Carrie, like what her involvement, but yep, thank you for answering.
And then Nurse Carrie did write the grant, so we do have Narcan available for all schools, even elementary schools. It might be somebody passing by the street or a parent visiting other days. So she does provide training for our staff and administration of Narcan as part of our regular medication administration training.
I'm really grateful for the opportunity to help in the schools and drive the van and take the training and be able to go to that CPR training that we get here. If you're involved in that, you have to pass through that, and that helps me so much. Like, and I appreciate that we have to have a refresher course in that. I really feel like it's essential for everyone to know those things that they're teaching for that too.
So how do students know how to access that or that that's available? Was outside of health class, because it doesn't sound like maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's really, it's not like advertised, there's not like posters around the school about it. But I think that if a student is like talking to like a counselor about it, I know someone I know was struggling with drug use, and they were looking for support in that, and they talked to one of our counselors, and they actually referred them like to the nurse, and so they found out through one of the student counselors. But other than that, that's all I really know about how but that like takes the student the courage to go talk to someone about it.
That's exactly what
Which a lot of people would feel like either ashamed or like scared to talk about it. And so I feel like there could maybe be more measures. I'm not exactly sure what.
I think sometimes also it's like, maybe the student doesn't want help with drug use, but they want something as a precautionary measure. Like there's always a chance of that. They don't want to seek help, but if this happens, they want this. And sometimes you don't want to take those avenues because you're worried about getting in trouble or whatever. And, it's just something that I feel that even if someone like me needed to just grab one, because maybe I see someone on the street who needs help, like I have it in my car or whatever, to just be able to take it, no questions asked, just like the feminine hygiene products in the bathroom. So that's just my thoughts on it.
I also feel like I don't feel like a lot of students even know that that is like that they can even go to the counselors to get help for that. Like, I think we need to definitely be promoting that that's even a possibility if the school can help that a lot more, like maybe, like, sorry. Like at the like assembly that we have at the very beginning of the school, like we just mentioned that that is something that the school can do and help with, because I don't feel like not everyone knows that that is, or feels like they'll be in trouble for it. Like Aubrey was saying.
Even a blurb in like PHTV
Yeah,
or
I was
something
thinking
like
that
that.
same thing.
Just saying like, if you're seeking help, or if you need
Yeah.
support, or if you need these tools, go here,
is
or
right.
even just, you know, like a table outside La Clinica where you can grab what you need and not have to go in and not have to talk to anybody, because, you know, even if that person doesn't want help, Narcan is a life-saving tool, and it's there, and that, without it, they might not be there to get help later.
I like the PSA idea on PHTV because that airs pretty regularly, doesn't it?
Every week.
Every week. So if there was something that was on there as far as that, I don't know what the resources are as far as availability to have to have Narcan or something like that, just available.
For that, look at the high school. I know the clinic has it. I don't know what their policy is of giving it out, but I think they do ask for consults probably.
Yeah, so that's the last I heard. I got you. I'm listening. In terms of PHTV, we are working with our behavioral therapist, who does a lot of that work, at the high school. And some campaigning that's coming out in January, so I'm actively working on that with her, not just for opioid use, but also the uptick we've seen in vape and THC with schools, and you know, just some information. And I'm not sure if they've gotten posted already in the bathrooms.
Yes, I was just thinking about this. Yeah,
Okay.
let's switch to.
That's
Crazy
Okay,
amount of nicotine in some of those vapes, just gonna say.
Yes.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they're only those one, it's
Yeah.
not cigarettes.
And I think it's just like really helpful, even like, you know, a lot of it happens in the bathrooms. And so for that to be present in the action, I feel like I wouldn't,
You're like, not really guilty about it. It's like, wait, what?
yeah, but I
Look
think,
at this before you make that choice.
yeah, I think it's also really beneficial to people that maybe aren't even using drugs, just to know if you know about someone and it's a personal choice, maybe it doesn't affect them, you can see, wow, this actually is a problem and maybe they need more support than they're getting. And so I feel like that was a really
I
good,
knew there were high amounts of nicotine
but
and
that was like a
vapes that
shock.
people use, but like the average vape that I know people use is like carries crazy amounts of nicotine in it.
Yeah, so we are working on this.
Yeah.
So support in that.
Yeah.
And about the Narcan, I'd have to get back to you guys.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah,
I think that I'm reminded about how blessed we are to have you all on our board. And I appreciate your dialogue with that. It's important that you're here.
Thank you.
Try not to get emotional about that. Okay.
It's okay, we're here for it.
So back to this board policy with the medications, I think that's the one. So we'll be, this will be before us on the next round when we're voting on that. And then moving on to the last one here, can't believe it. When I looked at this list, I felt like, geez, we're gonna be here for 3 days. But we didn't. H16, board policy JHCD-AR medications, and this one replaces that JHCD-AR. And this is also nurse Carrie. We always have to call nurse Carrie, right? Provided the optional language along with Tiffany and Brent in doing that. I don't know if we had any comment on that one. Okay, then, we're gonna pop out for a quick recess. I wanna ask Nancy if you just wanna hang tight there and just vote from there. Okay, good. So we'll take a short recess and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We have some fun stuff to talk about in this session, in this section, I think.
John's like, finally.
Yeah, John's like, yes. It's still late.
Sorry,
It's
comes
it's
early.
not 9 o'clock, John. We should be happy about this. The TMS solar contract. So Brent? John?
Yeah, I'll just turn it over to John, we are excited about this. This is exciting, actually. We've been talking about this for a while, but our partners at Amoresco, and John have worked through this. It's been through council. So John, I don't know if you want to share anything else.
Sure. This is the fruition of the $1 million grant that we got. We will be putting in solar roof mounted. Originally, I was thinking it would be ground mounted because we didn't have new roofs, but now we have brand new roofs. And so we're gonna do roof mount. It'll have battery backup for both gyms, the cafeteria area, the kind of sports commons area, because that would be an evacuation point for, if we ever had another natural disaster that we needed it. And we purposefully designed the system that we could add to it. So if in the future we get another grant, we can add more solar and additional battery and try to cover the academic wing. Currently, the size of the array should save us at least $20,000 a year. But there will be additional savings because when you have a battery backup on a system like this, you can actually take advantage of that during demand hours, which are more expensive with the electrical company, right? So we will get additional savings from that. And that's my speech.
Does anyone have any questions for John? I don't want it. You can turn it off if you want. I had a question about there's a lot of reporting requirements on here, which there should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we already have those on our existing projects, like on the high school or something? Are we doing that kind of reporting on those other things we've already completed?
No, okay, so on the high school, when we put that system in, that's a 248K system. We had a year of monitoring and reporting, where they actually helped fine tune everything, even though that system goes straight back to Pacific Power. I mean, it contributes to the power lines, and then we just get financial credit for that. In this, at the middle school, especially with the batteries and the new CREP grant, because we didn't use a CREP grant for the high school. They require they've gotten a little more stringent every time. At the middle school, they required a year's worth. And actually, when we wrote the grant, we committed that we would do reporting and actually try to give them the information they would need to duplicate this at other schools and other districts, okay? And you're gonna visit the Talon Elementary one as well, and that has the same it's actually a little bit more stringent. They want the reports for longer, but I've written those into the Amoresco contract. So we're not actually, it's just part of what we're paying now. And they take care of helping us prepare the reports and submit them and everything.
Okay, I was just curious about that because I think some of that could be a nightmare actually, to keep track of that stuff.
And I have the ability, just so you know, I can get onto my computer. I can tell you which panels are producing the best. And we actually, when we see a decline, the maintenance staff and custodial staff go up and clean the panels to make sure that we're getting optimum everything that we can get out of our solar investment.
Are there other maintenance things that we have to do? Or I miss Dawn so much. Are there other maintenance things that we have to do to keep them operational or besides keep them clean?
At the high school, it really just amounts to keeping the panels clean and checking the monitoring periodically, which I do. With the battery backup, there will be a little bit more maintenance because they actually have small HVAC units in the battery units to keep the temperatures down for the batteries. So our HVAC tech will change filters, check the system, and make sure all of that's working. Plus, the system's actually designed to give me an alarm if the HVAC unit is having issues or any of that stuff.
Yeah. And we can add, you said one time we can add batteries on the high school, but we just haven't done that. I think you made that, right? That option.
Correct. My intention, obviously with the board's permission, would be to apply for another grant for the high school. I'd like to add additional solar panels and battery backup. And then also because we're a little concerned with administration changes, things like that, that this program may not be, we don't know how long it's going to continue. So my intent is to put in one for the high school and put in one for Phoenix Elementary this year, hoping that we can duplicate what we're doing at Talent.
Great. Rachel?
Yeah, so, I just had a question about the battery saving. Is that something that like, I don't know if everybody here knows, but there's been like a lot of power outages.
Talent.
There's been since the school year
Well,
started.
and Talent, especially.
And I didn't know if that was something that would like the battery backup would help bring the lights back on or at least
Well,
faster.
Good question.
This will help it'll help some. Okay, so the amount of solar that we're getting for this grant, and it's literally just the amount that we got for the grant, plus what we're gonna get in tax incentives and things. So, like I said, at the middle school, it's really only gonna help with the big gym, the small gym, the cafeteria, and kind of the sports commons. It's not gonna affect the classrooms. Although, we're looking at adding all of the network switches and equipment at the school, and then the hallways. We do not have the panel capacity to do the classrooms at this time, but I hope to, in the future, once this project's done, apply for another grant or keep seeking incentives to add to what we have and add battery power so that eventually we can cover that. Now, Talon Elementary is a smaller campus, so I'm hoping that we can capture a larger majority of the classrooms along with those major systems. Because that school's not so much used as a evacuation point as Talent Middle School would be, because it can accommodate more people. So we won't probably focus on the cafeteria and gym. We'll focus on the classrooms and what we can do to improve that space during when we have staff and students.
Okay. Thank you, John. Anyone else?
I will say, having them turn on in the classrooms is less of a concern to me than like the hallways or the bathroom. I was in the bathroom when the powers went up.
Yeah, it's
I realized there are no windows.
There are no windows. Yeah.
And that was so, I appreciate that. I don't think there are a lot of windows in those classrooms, but there are zero windows in some of those hallways or the bathroom, so.
This summer, when the power went out at the middle school, the custodians could only clean where we had windows. So that actually taught me where we need to focus the power when we can.
Yeah. Do you have a motion?
I move to approve the TMS solar contract as presented.
I'll second. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, we're moving on.
We got to vote.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta vote. That's my other job. I forgot. We're gonna start with Nancy online.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Rebecca? Rebecca?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
I vote yes. Thank you for reminding me about that little formality.
Go buy the things.
Yeah, go get them. Okay, the next, resolution 2410, approval of the prep performance agreement.
These next really kind of, go towards the next piece with Talent Elementary, which is a very similar process and program, so, yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add on these, but this is something that's gonna be very nice for these two buildings to have solar and battery backup. Pretty incredible.
First of all, I'm sorry I inundated you with large contracts at the last minute.
You don't have to be sorry, you're doing your job.
But Talent Elementary, this one, it literally came to me on Thursday. It's the contract from the state. I need this approved so I can get design going. I believe I've already told the board that at Talent Middle School, we're hoping to start placing panels in February to March, and then battery in June. And my goal for Talent Elementary is to start placing solar panels June as soon as school is out, and have that system up and running before the end of summer, so we can start reaping the benefits.
Wonderful, awesome.
And Talent, it does seem, has the most.
Oh, yeah, all summer.
Fluctuating power scenarios, so. I move to approve, what is this? I move to adopt resolution 2410 approving the performance agreement for the Community Renewable Energy Grant Program as presented.
I'll second it. We all second it. We'll take Nancy. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Nancy. And now Nancy?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And yes, for me. Okay.
And this is just another piece of the puzzle?
The agreement, basically.
The agreement?
Yeah, the performance
Once this,
agreement.
and then it's that, okay. I move to adopt resolution, I move to approve the Oregon Department of Energy Performance Agreement for TES as presented.
Second. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, we'll vote. Nancy?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And then we have, for your reading pleasure, the review of our next meeting agenda. And
I do want to just mention, the special presentation, we
yeah.
had, something that we honor longtime board members with, so we'll be honoring Craig Pruitt, who was served for
Nice.
29 years, on our board, and we've had a gavel for the last several years, and so honoring the public, he'll be here in January.
awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I was wondering about that.
Just wondering what that was, so.
Yeah. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Adios, buenas noches.
Student reps.
Thank you, guys.
Thank